Hey artists, welcome back. Today we are going to be doing a portrait. As you can see, I've divided the head into halves and I'm using the standard drawing style. So I'm drawing in where the middle is, where the nose is, where the mouth is. Normally I'm a little bit further ahead because I'll start sculpting the features, but I wanted to see if I could narrow it down to creating a better portrait. So that's always been one of my struggles, is that portrait sculpture has always been very difficult. And it is because everybody's different, everybody looks different, even twins look different. So you have to be very careful about where you place features. And for me, I do have issues, but I am trying to get better at portrait sculpture. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. I'm just going in and adding the nose, the mouth, and pushing the front of the head backwards. One of the problems I have is that if I set the top and the bottom, I still make the sculpture grow. And on this one in particular, he's got some hair, so the hair weighs quite a bit with clay, so you just add more and more mass, and the sculpture unfortunately gets more and more heavy. And I'm also in a new studio, so that's why the lighting is a little bit differently. So I apologize for the lighting. I'm still trying to determine what type of lighting I like for this particular room. And I have two strong lights, which tend to, the sun kind of goes around and creates different patterns. In a way, it's nice, but you can tell that the times I'm working on it. I'm trying to be consistent with the lighting. So at this point, I use my paint scraper and I create facets for the head. I want certain things to be flatter, and I try to look for where the bones are kind of coming to the surface, because that's really more important, at least to me. I want the bones to be in the right place, because otherwise the features won't land where I think they should go. And I'm using two paint scrapers. One is a lot stiffer. Some of the best sculpting tools are the simplest kind, just pieces of wood and paint scrapers that you get at Home Depot and Lowe's or your hardware store. Those are really great. So I'm putting in the ear. You notice that he's missing a little bit of the back of his head because that involves more clay, and I need to go and get some new clay. So I'm adding a little bit more detail. He's starting to look human. And I just got some new clay, so I'm going to start putting it in. I added the eyes as well, but I'm not too happy the way they look just now. The hair on this particular model is also very difficult to do. So I don't know exactly what I'm going to be doing, but hair is difficult to get right in sculpture. So now I put a new lighting on the sculpture. This is ideal if you have a model and a sculpture, you want to light it absolutely the same. But you can see it's so much more dramatic. This really lets you look at the features a lot better. So you look at that light, it's nice and strong, the lights are good, the shadows are crisp, that's what you want. I'm using a small dental tool to get to where I need in the eyes, creating the ridges, but I'm trying to be looser with the sculpture. I don't know if I'm successful, but also keep in mind, because I am using an armature, a standard portrait armature, you can move the head around. It helps to have somebody help you hold the torso while you move the head. So it's easier, but that's the flexibility of having an armature for a portrait, because you can then scoop it out inside and you still have a nice action. For this one, I moved the head so he's kind of looking a little bit more to the left, and you do have that flexibility. That's one of the big benefits of having an armature. And this particular type of armature, you can still pull it out and take it apart and then fire it in a kiln. Now I've added a few more things, like a little bit of a goatee and a mustache, and I'm just being loose, and I want to create a little bit of the clothes that he's wearing, and it's a hoodie. So I'm going to add a little bit more clay, but midway I was kind of thinking I shouldn't, because I tend to just like to show the torso. It's a lot more interesting. Once you start adding close, it definitely times your sculpture. They can tell what age this is from, kind of like the naked torso style. But the hoodie, I'm going to add it. This is a study. It's not meant to be like a finished product of any kind. And I recommend people do this pretty often because this is how you gain practice, and try to use different models. Try to use different looking models. And so far, this is a decent start. I don't know if I'll finish it or I'll put it in the bag, but stay tuned for the next video and we'll see if I finish the sculpture. And that's pretty much it. I tend not to keep a lot of portrait sculptures around because unless you're doing it for that particular person, there's not much point in keeping just like random heads around. So that's why I don't really specialize too much in portraits. But I do want to get better at getting very good likenesses. Alright guys, I really appreciate you guys watching. I'm almost up to 4,000 subscribers, which is pretty crazy. Thanks for watching, I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video.